First of all, obvious question out of the way. There is no update on Kevin Hogan. Um, he's progressing a little bit each day, and really we'll see where he is on Friday. We're not going to get him off the field before then. We're not going to, or on Thursday, excuse me. We'll get him on the field, run around a little bit, see how he's going. But there's a good chance it's a game day decision.
David, you said after that first week that you really don't know what you got in your team until about the fourth week. I'm going to imagine you learned a little something Saturday. You know, what did you learn about your team after that win?
First, that we are as resilient as we're going to need to be. We're down 2 scores in that game, and guys didn't blink. They didn't bat an eyelash. We didn't get in the dumps. There were no finger pointing. Guys just kept coming back because we had confidence that we could go out there and play and have a chance to win. That we are athletic. That we can run with some of those guys. Now, a couple of those guys are pretty special, and we could have done a better job, but for the most part, I think defensively we're still young at some spots, but we're going to continue to grow and feel good about where we are offensively. That we can be physical up front and run the football when we need to, and then we can make big plays in the passing game, both with our tight ends and our receivers and our running backs. We're on the way to being the team we want to be, and now it's about being consistent. Can we give that same effort this week in Corvallis?
And how courageous was that performance by Kevin? Because when he went down, I mean, that could have been a knee, an ankle, a lot of different things. And
First of all, we got very, very fortunate that it wasn't a season-ending deal. But for him to come back taped up and in a little bit of pain, but structurally no chance to make it worse. And went out there and played extremely well and limped back and forth between the huddle and the line of scrimmage. And then when he had to scramble late, he scrambled late. He just gritted and did it. And our team already respects him, but I think people got an idea of just how tough this young man is.
Could you explain how you are handling practice with Ryan and Keller in terms of the reps and how you go about preparing two for potential game day
No.
duty? No.
We'll once again, we'll see late in the week where we are. We have some things that we have to prepare for. In particular this week. This week there are just a million different looks defensively that you have to prepare a quarterback for, both in the running game and the pass game, the pass protection game. So we're being judicious with our preparation, and we'll see where it goes. And if all things go to plan, Kevin plays and takes every snap.
Are Krista and Burns ready to go?
One or both will have to be potentially at some point. But both guys are so much better than they were last spring. Training camp was great, taking steps, each one of them, and we'll see where we are late in the week. But if they get out there and play, yes, we'll protect them to a certain degree. But at the same time, there's a reason why you recruit these guys. They're both big, physical, athletic, strong-arm guys, and we'll let them go out there and play.
So one more, if I could, on this. Let's say Kevin can't play. Will you have a third? Will Dallas? What do you do with Dallas or someone else?
We have emergency plans, which we hopefully don't have to delve into. We have multiple guys on our team that have played quarterback at some point in their lives, especially going to a season only having 3. And these are discussions that we've had multiple times. And you've got a Dallas Lloyd, you've got a Jay Tyler, who broke a lot of records down in Louisiana as a quarterback, who's hopefully going to continue to redshirt for us as a receiver. So we have emergency plans if we need them.
David, if you make a decision Thursday, yay or nay, regarding Kevin, will you let us know about it?
Absolutely. I'll let you guys know for sure, but there's a good chance, unless Kevin can't go, he absolutely can't do anything on Thursday, then we'll have to make a decision. But if he can do a little bit on Thursday, but not a lot, then it'll be a game time decision, and then we'll just have to see. But if it's definitive one way or the other, I'll let you guys know. I'll put it this way: I won't take it to game day unless I'm really taking it to game day.
Speaking of quarterbacks, what do you think of Seth Collins?
put him on the list of all the guys in our conference that are tough to prepare for. Does so many different things, and more athletic than I thought going into it when we started watching the film. Could make the throws. They're still growing a lot as an entire unit, as an offense, as we believe we are as well. But they give you variety. So it's his skill set combined with the scheme that they use. I can't even say scheme, the variety of schemes that they use. They keep you on your toes. The next thing you know, he's on the edge, or he's giving it to a halfback who's on the edge, and they're making plays. So it's a corralling effort by our defense to try to keep these guys balled up.
I don't envy you as a head coach trying to keep your 4 running backs all happy with enough footballs, but you seem to be getting in a rotation where everybody's kind of getting to contribute.
Our guys understand it. And week to week, different guys are going to shine. Last week, Bryce Love had a phenomenal week against Central Florida. Only one run, but a couple receptions that were dynamic. And then Barry Sanders came in late and put on a show. Christian McCaffrey just had his first 100-yard game. Ramon Wright scored 3 touchdowns. So what the guys are learning is the game has ebb and flow to it. And just like the receivers and tight ends have to understand, being in the West Coast offense, one week it might be your week to shine, and one week it might be somebody else's week. The bottom line is everybody comes and prepares and cheers on the guy who has a great game.
This was obviously the offensive line's best performance of the year. I'm just kind of wondering if how you would describe their performance in this game and their development this year.
We cut down on the one bad play, or the 2 bad plays. With 5 offensive linemen, if each guy has 2 bad plays, that's 20 bad plays. Put it this way, it just continues to multiply. Just one mistake here, one mistake there. This week, they played smart, they played well, they played together, they were physical, and offensively as a whole, we continue to get first downs. So you have more opportunities to run the ball and throw the ball and do a variety of different things.
Was there any common denominator to the 3 sacks?
Not really. One was a delayed blitz. We had him accounted for in the protection scheme, and he kind of hid behind the guy and they came late. It was a great effort by him. And the other 2 they were coverage related. They did some nice things coverage wise, which made Kevin hold the ball for a second, and they got to us.
How does Bright figure into this? He had a lot of plays in this game. I don't know, 20 or 25 or something like that. It was all over the place. Is there any chance that he will work his way into the starting lineup?
I'm not sure. We had a definite plan for him this game, and he comes in. We do some of our goal line stuff, and he comes in the regular field when we bring in our extra offensive lineman. And he's a versatile, big, physical guy. He can play the wing, he can play the tight end, he can play guard, and he can play tackle. And we're continually excited and impressed by his growth, because at some point he's going to be a starter here. It's just tough to say what position because he can play a variety of positions.
Why does Caspers take the snaps on the goal line, short yardage?
Just a thing that we've been doing. I think there are things that, put it this way, there are a lot of teams Johnny Caspers would be the starting center. He's got a knack for it. He's very, very good in there. Some things that Graham does extremely well. And we talked about it as a staff, and Coach Bloomgren does a phenomenal job with these guys. And everywhere else on the offense, we play the guys' strengths. And why not do it on the offensive line? We did it 2 years ago with Andrus, 3 years ago with Andrus. When Andrus was a freshman, we put him in a tackle for special plays and kicked Dave Yankee down to guard and put Dave Yankee back out to tackle and put different guys in at guard. So we try to use the same philosophy, which is a guy's got an opportunity to do something and a skill set to do something. We play towards those strengths.
2 guys I'd love to have as a quarterback, Austin Hooper at tight end, and then Kaju seems to be coming back. He had that one drop, but talk about both their developments.
You talk to most quarterbacks, and they like big targets. They like guys that are big and physical because when they cover, they're not really covered. You can put the ball high and outside and give the guy a chance to make a play where it's either a completion or it's incompletion and no chance to get intercepted. And it decreases or it increases your margin for error. You don't have to throw the perfect ball all the time. And those guys definitely give you that. And they love the fast guys also. They give you some run after catch, so you can throw the ball really for 5 yards and get a 20-yard gain. Francis Owusu you put in that category. Francis is a big, physical, fast guy. We put a ball down the field, and he ran under it and wrestled the ball away from the defensive back. Those guys make the quarterback feel good because, once again, you don't have to be perfect.
Has Hooper, have you learned anything about Hooper that maybe you didn't realize you were getting?
I think it's all coming together. We all felt that it would when we saw him his junior year. It's just coming together a lot faster than maybe we anticipated. He's a mismatch. He's a tough guy to cover in space. He's become a very good inline blocker and a blocker on the wing. His versatility and his athleticism and his toughness, they're all very impressive.
Blake Martinez on a pace for about 160 tackles. Talk about him, the way he's playing.
Playing extremely well. I thought he played very well last year. I think he's playing better this year. He's fast. He's physical. He very determined, and he knows when to take a shot and when not to take a shot. He knows when to go backdoor. He knows when to go over the top. So there's a bunch of different options that you have at middle linebacker that you have to read the scheme and know where you fit. And he's doing a great job. And on top of that, being the leader that we need him to for the defense and for the team. So it's not just about him making his plays. It's about him sometimes taking on a block so somebody else can make a play. He's been a great teammate and a great player.
How do the Beavers look different under Coach Anderson, the new staff?
It's a different scheme, of course, and we'll see how much the roster turns over the next couple of years. But they have physically, it's a very similar team to what they had before. Very powerful and quick football team on the defensive side in particular. Then you mix in the variety of pressures and blitzes they can give you, which we've seen through the years from Utah, as their coordinator came from. So it's an interesting combination, whereas Utah had a lot of the size, just big, physical guys. Some of these guys are more undersized, but you see how quick and explosive they are. They still get penetration on the passing game. They get in the quarterback's face. They hit the quarterback. They have a lot of movement and blitzes that affect the running game. So it's an interesting combination of the personnel and their scheme. And offensively, built for more of a drop-back passing game under Riley. They've made a pretty good adaptation, to what their new scheme. So. Once again, we're still learning, and we're only a couple games in. I'm sure they'll have some wrinkles for us that we haven't seen, but it makes you really prepare and be as sound as you can because, play by play, both sides of the ball, you're not really sure what you're going to get.
This is kind of an obvious question in a situation like this, but after a big emotional win on the road, and now you're playing a team that you're favored over, and you've beaten them several times in a row, you pretty much rely on your senior leadership to keep this game keep the team from being overconfident going into this game?
There's no question. I mean, we haven't earned the right to be overconfident. We played one really good game from start to finish, 1 out of 3. We're trying to build some momentum. We're trying to be the team that we want to be, and the team that we want to be doesn't worry about what happened the last game. We worry about what we want to make happen the next game. So I've already talked to the team. I started in the locker room at USC. We didn't accomplish any of our goals against USC. We won a football game and played well, and we have to back that up with another good football game on the road, conference opponent, raucous, loud environment, and remind a lot of the older guys. I mean, every game that we've had at Oregon State in the last few years has been tough. It's been a game won at the end of the game. It's been tight. So our guys understand that. They better understand that because it's not going to be a cakewalk in there. It's going to be a tough physical game.
Either before the schedule was officially released or after, did you have any discussion with the conference office about playing a road Friday night game after a road Saturday game?
Put it this way, I didn't bother. It wasn't going to change. You know, the conference has a hand in the scheduling, but TV also makes a lot of those decisions. So it's a combination of the two, and you know, there's no use complaining about anything. You know, you play the hand that you're dealt, and you go get after it. And you know, and there are challenges. There are challenges that you have to face if you want to be a good football team. You're going to have to go on a short week on the road, and no one's going to give you any excuses. You have a schedule and you go play it.
But I guess my question is more about just player welfare, right? They don't let you play a Thursday home game after Saturday home game because it's not enough turnaround time. Do you think that Friday road after Saturday road is that much different for the players in terms of recuperation and all that?
That's a great question. I'd love to pass up the food chain. But yeah, that's out of our hands, and we do the best job we can as far as helping our guys recover from a tough physical game in LA and prepare for a tough physical game in Corvallis. So we've backed off some of our physical things that we do typically yesterday, which would have been a quote-unquote Tuesday practice. We'll get after it pretty good today. We're gonna get pretty physical today because we have to, and then we'll back off the rest of the week to get ready for Friday night.
You must have been very pleased with Arpina's big kicks, huh?
Very good, and he's been great. He's been great all training camp. You know, didn't miss a pressure kick for apparently all summer. They talked about. He's had the right mentality, and you know, he wants to play his part on this football team, and he's he's exhibiting the toughness that you want a kicker to exhibit. Learned a long time ago that every player in every position on a football team needs to show toughness on a daily basis, and you know, and that comes from Bill Walsh from way back when. You know, they want tough, high character people that are good at their jobs, and that's what Conrad's been. He's had a systematic approach really since last spring, and he's very confident right now, but not overconfident. He's staying right where we need him to be.
Besides Hogan, is anybody else iffy for this game physically? Kalambai, is he okay? He had a stinger or something?
Yeah, Kalambai okay. He got banged up a little bit. Kevin Anderson got banged up a little bit. I mean, it was a physical game. It was a physical game. You know, I got the question earlier on a call about you know, whether or not USC is a finesse football team, and you know, which is, you know, ludicrous. Just, you know, you lose a game and everybody wants to jump off your bandwagon. That was a hard-fought game on both sides, and I think both teams are kind of feeling that. Anyway, even if we did have a Saturday game this week, we would be backing off a little bit because that was a very, very physical game. So, you know, a couple guys we didn't practice very hard yesterday. After today's practice, and we'll see who still can go, who can't go, but there's a lot of guys still feeling it after that SC game.
Has Portland gotten to the point where it's like the Phoenix suburbs and the Atlanta suburbs for you guys in terms of recruiting?
You know, it's interesting. It's interesting because it's a very, very not very well known football area, but there's a lot of good football up there, and some really good players have come out of there. I think we have somewhat of an advantage because there are a lot of Stanford alums up there. There are a lot of Stanford alums up there, whether they're working at Nike or they're working at some of the other different industries up there. So our name travels pretty well up there. And the other thing about it, which is a really big piece of the puzzle for us, there are a lot of really good schools up there that are schools that can prepare a young person for a place like Stanford. And so our admissions people, you know, look very highly on some of those schools up there that these young men come from.
David, you told us after the game you didn't bother with a pregame speech. You had all the players who won Pac-12 championships stand up and speak. Is that something you plan during the week, what you're going to say? And if you do you write it down? Do you wing it? You know.
To be honest, I think about it late in the week. I don't think about it early in the week because it's too early. I try to give the guys what I think they need to get ready for a football game. I don't want it to be too long. I don't want to be too much. I don't want to be too deep. And, you know, to be honest, and I kind of pray about it a little bit, and I think about it, and I just kind of let it come to me. And as I was thinking about our football team in this quote-unquote big game, I was just looking at our guys, and I was like, you know, that guy played in the Rose Bowl. I could win a Pac-12 championship game. And that was something I wanted our guys to internalize and say, yeah, we haven't played our best, but it wasn't too long ago that we were the best in the conference. And a lot of those guys in that room were the best in the conference. And it was time for us to start playing like it and walk on the field with confidence that we've accomplished a lot, and now we got to accomplish it today.
Won't be worded properly, but does it make you feel a little bit better that Northwestern is 3-0 and ranked? I mean, you know, you lost a pretty good football team that game.
You know, and it sounds terrible, and nobody paid attention to it when I talked about it before the game because it sounds like coach speak. But I went back and I watched all those games. That, you know, quote unquote lowly Northwestern team beat Notre Dame last year, beat Michigan last year. They beat ranked opponents last year, and narrowly lost a couple of tight games. They are a veteran squad. They don't make mistakes. They don't turn the ball over. They run the ball well, and they stop the run. They're built to win football games. And I communicate with Coach Fitzgerald. We have over the last couple of years. I have a lot of respect for what he does there. We texted back and forth after our game and even after this past game because we have a lot of respect for each other because, you know, we believe both places do things the right way. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if they continue to win and continue to climb in the rankings because I think they deserve it. They're a good football team. They're not as flashy or as exciting as some people might want to be, but when it comes down to the game of throwing and catching, blocking and tackling, they do it very well.
Are you anticipating rain up there?
Anytime you go north of California, you anticipate rain. No matter what the weatherman says, I should say weather person, no matter what the weather's prediction is, you anticipate it, you prepare for it, but at the same time, we got a lot of guys from a lot of parts of the country. We have a lot of guys that have played in rain and snow and sleet and hail, and we just got to go out there and play a good football game.
Thanks, Evan.